The next time you're walking around your house, through your garden, or across your yard, or even along a quiet path near a fence or driveway, stop for just a second and look at the ground. You'll probably see dozens of tiny funnel-shaped pits scattered across the sand. Most are no bigger than a bottle cap. They look so ordinary that almost everyone ignores them. But if you do notice them, chances are you'll do exactly what millions of people do every year. You'll poke one with a stick. You'll drag your shoe through it. You'll smooth it over with your hand. Maybe you'll pour a little sand inside just to see what happens. Children often dig them out because they're curious. Gardeners accidentally rake them flat while tidying paths. Dog owners watch their pets run through entire colonies without giving it a second thought. It seems harmless. After all, it's just a little hole in the sand. But that tiny hole is actually someone's home, someone's hunting ground, and someone's only chance of finding food. Destroying it means forcing one of nature's most remarkable predators to start all over again. And once you understand what lives beneath that sand, you'll probably never flatten another pit for the rest of your life. Hidden beneath the exact center of every funnel waits an antlion larva. Almost nothing about it looks impressive. Yet this tiny animal has mastered one of the most successful hunting strategies on Earth. Unlike spiders, it doesn't spin webs. Unlike praying mantises, it doesn't stalk prey. Unlike dragonflies, it doesn't fly after insects. Instead, it lets the ground do the hunting. The funnel isn't a random hole, it's an engineered trap. The antlion builds a hidden funnel of silence, an invisible geometry carved grain by grain until the ground above is no longer stable, only waiting. One careless step is enough. One slipping grain is all it takes. And then the earth itself turns against the victim, pulling it down towards something that was never seen, never heard, never expected. That detail is incredibly important. The slope is so steep that the slightest mistake triggers a collapse in the sand. The moment an ant steps too close, everything changes. At first, the insect barely notices. Then a single grain slips beneath its feet. Suddenly, it is sliding toward the center. It desperately tries to climb back out, but every movement triggers another miniature avalanche. The harder it struggles, the faster it falls. And if the ant somehow begins to escape, the hidden predator intervenes, throwing sand upward. Tiny showers strike the climbing insect, knocking it back again and again until it slips directly into the waiting jaws below. It almost looks like the sand itself is alive. Within seconds, the hunt is over. The entire attack usually lasts less than 10 seconds, yet every part of it has been perfected over millions of years of evolution. Scientists have found that the walls of the pit sit at almost the steepest angle loose sand can naturally support. It's a delicate balance. The trap is stable enough to hold its shape, but unstable enough that the slightest disturbance sends everything cascading downward. In other words, the antlion isn't simply waiting for prey, it has turned gravity itself into a weapon. Even where the trap is built is no accident. Antlions search for dry, loose sand that's protected from heavy rain and strong wind. That's why you'll often find their pits beneath roof overhangs, under decks, beside walls, beneath pine trees, or anywhere the ground stays dry for long periods. If conditions are perfect, dozens or even hundreds of antlions may build their traps only inches apart, creating an entire hidden colony beneath your feet that most people walk past without ever noticing. If a trap is destroyed, the larva can't simply wait for food to come by. It has to rebuild everything from scratch. Using its broad body like a tiny bulldozer, it walks backward in tight circles while flicking sand away with quick movements of its head. Grain by grain, the funnel slowly takes shape again. Depending on the size of the pit and the condition of the sand, rebuilding can take many minutes, all while the hungry predator remains exposed and unable to catch a single meal. Every unnecessary collapse costs valuable energy, and for an animal that may wait days before its next successful catch, that's a surprisingly expensive setback. Most people never witness this because they destroy the pit before anything happens. Imagine walking into the woods and cutting down every spider web you see before the spider catches breakfast. That's essentially what happens when someone wipes out an antlion trap. The larva survives most of the time, but it has lost its only hunting tool. Now it has to spend precious energy digging an entirely new trap before it can eat again. For a creature that may wait days between successful meals, that's a serious setback. Here's the surprising part. Antlions aren't pests. They aren't dangerous. In fact, they're helping keep insect populations under control. Every ant, small beetle, or crawling insect that falls into one of these traps is one less insect competing with other species in the ecosystem. Antlions have been doing this naturally for millions of years, without chemicals, pesticides, or human intervention. Most people can spend an entire lifetime living near antlions without ever seeing one outside its pit. The only thing they're interested in is catching tiny insects. Yet despite being harmless, people destroy their homes every day. Think about how often you've seen children scraping sticks across dry sand, or someone sweeping sandy pathways with a broom. Many people even dig the larvae out because they want to show their friends the monster hiding underneath. Unfortunately, once removed from the pit, the antlion becomes vulnerable. Birds quickly spot it. Lizards can easily grab it. Instead of remaining hidden and protected, it's suddenly exposed to every predator nearby. If you really want to see an antlion, there's a much better way. Sit quietly near one of the pits for a few minutes. Sooner or later, an unsuspecting ant will wander too close. Watching the trap work exactly as nature intended is far more fascinating than digging the animal out. You'll witness one of the most efficient ambush strategies in the natural world without causing any harm. Antlions only build their traps where conditions are just right. They need dry, loose sand that stays relatively undisturbed. They also need healthy populations of ants and other tiny insects. If you find dozens of antlion pits in one location, it's usually a sign that the habitat is still functioning naturally. So, what should you do if you come across antlion pits? The answer is incredibly simple. Leave them exactly as they are. And if you own a garden with naturally sandy soil, remember that these tiny predators are working for free. They're removing insects without harming your plants or requiring any effort from you.